I think people really need to start putting their money where their mouth is when they see a element that they want to grow or have more of. Pitch in. You've got to volunteer. You've got to show up. You've got to donate. You've got to, everybody that always says somebody should do something about that. You're somebody. You've got to show up. And a lot of people wonder, like, how do these bands get chosen? Blah, 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 stuff like that. It's the people who show up to the committee meetings where we're talking about who we want to book. That's all you got to do is show up. The people who are at the table get to make the decisions, and the table is wide open. And
all right. Hey, Nicole, guess who's in the studio today?
Is it Sara McGibany?
It's the one, the only Sara McGibany, the founder of the Farmers Market.
We have been trying to get in
Queen
this
of
basement
Alton.
forever.
Yeah.
I'm just a little busy this time of year, y'all.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, I've seen the event calendar. I know, like, what, you got the pub crawl, the car show, the every weekend farmers market with 180 vendors.
The night market starting up.
The night market starting up.
It's go time.
How do do you do it?
Oh, I got a great team, honestly, and I don't sleep.
We called it. We called it. We knew she was going to say the great team. Yep.
Which is valid.
It's valid. You do have a great team. Damn, who is this woman? Why is she up to everything? Why does she do everything? I want to be that cool. I want to be that.
I don't know how she does it, to be honest, like at all.
I don't either. I've asked her a bunch of times, and then she just laughs and has like a 1,000-yard stare and just goes, I don't know, Corey. And I'm like, you know what, Sarah, that's fair. You've earned that 1,000-yard stare.
I mean, as a person, like, she's very much oh no, it was a group effort. It was a team effort, which
Yes.
I'm sure it is to do all the things.
She has a great team.
but she has a great team, and
She's always got a team.
Well, up until last year, it was a one-man show. Now, thankfully, I have my right hand, Chantel, who has been my part-time admin assistant for a year now, and she is just phenomenal. So yes, now there's at least one more person who can't say, oh, something came up, I gotta go, so she's really been a world of help too. So
I've been on the record several times referring to Chantel as a dreamboat and a wonderful person, and I might constantly flirt with her on Facebook because she is a one-of-a-kind wonderful person that Alton is lucky to have.
Agreed.
Very much so.
So you don't sleep much.
I'm a night owl, yeah.
But the farmers market starts at like what, 6 a.m. for you?
I gotta be down there at 6ish. Yeah, some of the farmers even beat me down there, but yeah, things start rocking and rolling at 7, so I better have all my stuff ready to go by the time everybody else starts rolling in,
What does 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. look like at the farmers market?
Oh, it's a beautiful sunrise we usually get to experience. It's, everybody who is a seasonal vendor who knows their spot, they can start setting up as early as they like. So they start rolling in, farmers. So they're already up.
Yes.
Probably 4 or 5. So they're getting all their stuff set up, and then the crowd of people comes that's just there for the day. And yeah, we really try to make it as accessible and affordable for anybody who has any wild idea they want to try to turn into a business. And we just kind of provide the crowd, and if their product is good.
We have so many this year. It's been crazy.
Biggest ever. I mean, the opening day was 185 vendors. That shattered all of our previous records. It's the biggest parking lot in downtown, though. So if we outgrow this, I really don't know what we're going to do. But
I parked in the grass.
I'm always having to park here on the side now.
People are parking down at the amphitheater now and walking over the berm to get to us. Hot tip, park on Broadway and take the pedestrian bridge. Nobody thinks to do that. So that's a good way to go.
I have thought to do that a few times. So yeah, the farmers market is a ritual for my wife and I. I know you see us down there most weekends.
Yes, I do.
I think it's one of the coolest aspects of Alton itself. So how did it get founded?
It really got founded by the farmers themselves. It initially started somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 years ago on Market Street. They used to just pull up their little tents and set up. It was probably 5 or 6 farmers, and they would just do a little farm stand thing. And then when our organization was created in 1995, it made a lot of sense for us to adopt that as one of our projects. So we've been pouring time and energy into it to grow it ever since then. On my watch, we've outgrown our parking lot and had to move 5 times now. So,
so where was it? Like, where are these moves? So it goes from Market Street to...
When I took it over, it was in the little parking lot between Cat Daddy's and Hiram's.
Okay.
And
I actually remember that.
Occasionally, we would pull in to set up, and there would be people sleeping in their cars from the night before downtown. And we would have to politely tap on their window and say, "Good morning, we're having a farmer's market, time to move on."
That's way better than a cop.
That
You hear a
is.
tap
yes.
on the window, and instead of a cup, it's just Sarah being like,
Also, they can get
Hi.
breakfast. Like, they're hungover. It's
And
perfect.
we're proud of you for not driving home last night.
The
good job. Yeah.
reinforcement. Yes.
Love that. Man.
So have you been with Main Street since 1995, since it started?
No,
I don't think she's old
beginning.
enough for that.
That's what I was like.
I was in high school then, yeah.
Okay, no, okay, well. I don't do math.
Well, but this number might blow you away. It's going to be 20 years I've been doing this in December.
Okay.
It doesn't
20
really,
years.
20 years.
doesn't really, because we were just talking, like, Sarah's dedicated most of her adult life to making Alton a better place to live. And we're not wrong.
Yeah.
Half my
Half
life.
your life?
I mean, and before me, they had, I think, 10 directors in 12 years. So it was kind of a revolving door about every year or so the person would get burned out. I mean, it's a lot of work and nonprofit, obviously, you know, you're not making buku bucks. So, you know, a lot of people just kind of used it as a stepping stone to something else. But, you know, when the board hired me, I actually owned a business on Broadway. And I think that's part of what got
What
me the
was
job.
it? You owned a business
A
on
music
Broadway?
school and art gallery in Mineral
Okay.
Springs. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
So the me at the time came in our door and said, you got to join Main Street. So I thought, well, what is this? You know, and learn a little bit more about it. And then when that position came open, my mom actually cut it out of the paper and mailed it to me, you know, the announcement that the job was
Yeah.
opening. And she said, this is your career. I just know it. You know, so thanks, Mom. You know,
Wow. She nailed
That's a
that.
supportive mother.
I had a PR degree that I wasn't using. You know, there are absolutely no entry-level marketing public relations jobs whatsoever. I searched and searched and finally just took a job, you know, at a mortgage company that I wasn't loving. And, you know, but it had a lot of downtime. And in that time, you know, had my business plan going for a music school and art gallery and ended up consigning art for about 25 different local artists. So, yeah, it was I think a feather in my cap when I applied for this job that they thought, well, a downtown business owner would probably be a good person to run the downtown business association kind of thing. So,
So, have they ever marched you close to the edge where you were just like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just done. Nah, fuck this place. I'm going home. Bye.
not really, man. I'm tenacious. When somebody tells me I can't do something, that really makes me that much more adamant that I'm going to do it.
Yes.
So what about Alton, like, keeps you here? Like, I know what keeps me here. You know what keeps you. What keeps you here?
Well, you know, I went away for college and then lived, you know, in Kansas City for a few years and St. Louis for a few years. And it was really real estate that got me back here. I started looking at what you could get on that side of the river versus what you could get on this side of the river for the money. And I was just like, oh, you know, a Cracker Jack box in St. Louis or a Victorian 100-year-old home in Middletown. I was like, it's a no-brainer. So, and of course, I had family and friends here and everything. So I just decided to venture back and lay down roots, and haven't regretted it a day since. I mean, you need some perspective. You need to go live other places. And I really did
Yeah.
not realize how much I would miss the River Road until I was gone. And that's just like, I can't just take a ride on the River Road whenever I want. You know, it's one of those things that really makes home, you know?
We are spoiled. Oh, we learned something about the River Road last night.
Yes, we did.
Oh, yeah, we learned something.
Those-
You're not going to like it.
Oh,
Those
no.
trees ain't supposed to be there.
Yeah, the beautiful autumn
Yeah, the
foliage that people love on the River Road, it's supposed to burn every 4 or 5 years. And it's like this endangered habitat for a lot of different things that grow on the bluffs and don't grow anywhere else in the state of Illinois but the bluffs. And apparently the fact that we have trees there is ruining the habitat it's supposed to have. It's supposed to be set on fire like every
Or
4
whatever,
to
the
5 years.
You know, I'm really glad that you mentioned that because that has crossed my mind a number of times. When you see historical photos of the bluffs, all you see is bluff and there are
Yup.
hardly any trees. And I always wondered, like, did the trees just start growing? That's my answer. No, they just stopped being burned down.
Yeah, we quit burning down the trees, which apparently is bad. We should be burning
We should be
down
burning
the
more
trees.
trees. A little, yeah.
But back on the subject of Alton and Main Street. So what besides real estate, besides the River Road, like what has happened in Alton? Like what dynamic things have occurred that keep you rooted here?
I mean, our culture is just second to none. We're weirdos and we embrace it. You know, it's so funny when you hear about, you know, people's visions for the future. They always have the caveat of, but we're gritty and we want to keep the grit.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just part of who we are. We don't want to be St. Charles. We
No.
don't want to be polished. You know,
No.
we are who we are.
We don't want to
We're
be the
spooky,
Central West
we're
End.
That's what
creepy,
drew
we're
me to Alton in
weirdos,
the
and-
first place. Yes.
I mean, my favorite piece of graffiti is up on Market Street, and it says "Keep Alton Creepy" in black spray paint.
Love it.
There's so many breeds of people in Alton, just so many. And we've got a weird diversity for a town of like 26,000 people. Like, it's cool. I like it. There's all sorts of different backgrounds. So, yeah.
I had a question. So, what has changed drastically within, I guess, Alton Main Street? Things you do, like from then until now.
I think
Damn, that's a
we
good one.
totally miss the incremental change because we're so embroiled in it. But when I started doing this, there was about one building on every block that had a business in it. And now there's about one building on every block that doesn't have a business in it. I mean, the vacancy rate has just absolutely plummeted. And it's, it's like I said, it's really hard to identify that when you're living it across 20 years. But when I think back in the day, it's like, oh no, this was the only shop and there was nothing else, as far as the eye could see, let alone in walking distance,
I know you can park your car and hit up so many just walking. You can, like, one of Anna's favorite things to do is just go downtown, spend my money.
Take her to Funky Planet.
I'm about to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great one.
The place for every birthday anymore. I don't even pick out gifts anymore. I just take the nieces and nephews in and let them run and say, pick whatever you want.
They told me about that board game, that Psychobabble, and that's my first purchase.
Definitely won't play it. Yeah. So with that, you said there's less vacancy, there's more businesses. Has the turnover rate changed? Like, are businesses staying longer?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I do kind of keep a list of everybody who, moves out of the district or goes out of business or anything. So I can kind of take a walk through memory lane when I open that spreadsheet. It's like, oh yeah, I remember them and I remember them. But yeah, it's the ones that are opening now have some staying power. I mean, there's always going to be a bit of a revolving door. That's just
especially when it comes to the food business and
like real estate and like you outgrow your location, you move to another one, things don't work out. Like
things totally shift. Before we were Antique Row, that's what we were known as, and it was if there was retail on the block, it was going to be vintage antique, but that kind of also devolved a little bit. We used to be known, nationwide as the place to get antiques. Yes. And then it started to kind of go downhill. And, there are still a number of good shops, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them kind of started to go more toward the yard sale type of stuff, fine antiques and things like that. It just kind of started to slide downhill a little bit. There's been quite a bit of a resurgence in the last 10 years with some great new shops opening up, but that's not something that you just jump into the antiques business. You kind of have to like be brought up with it or have some sort of family connection or something to really know your stuff,
Absolutely. And Alton has enough history to make those kind of people happen. Like you were just talking like Victorian 100-year-old house, like, yeah, we have a lot of those, and a lot of them have weird stuff in them. And then that weird stuff gets dusted off, restored by people who know what they're doing, and sold. But I've noticed that, like, the district you cover, because Main Street only covers, like, Broadway to downtown, right? Like, you're not all of Alton.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Yeah, a lot of people think we're all things to all people. We are everywhere, but we are hyper-focused on basically from the entrance to the River Road to Fast Eddie's. That mile and a half stretch.
I was wondering how far, so that's how far on Broadway is Fast Eddie's?
Yeah, it's about a mile and a half, but we do gut up 9th Street a little bit to get in the commercial area, but we have nothing to do with residential anything. We're not neighborhood anything. We are strictly commercial. Obviously, we do encourage residential upper floor apartments and things like that. That's really kind of, we're like almost there as far as Alton's resurgence. That's one of the last pieces of the puzzle is to get all of our upper floors.
Downtown.
Yeah. So many property owners, they're so busy doing what they're doing on the ground floor, they don't even realize or don't have time or the money or whatever to know that, their second and third floor eventually could be income producing too. And things like that.
And it does take time and money to, I'm sure the older buildings, a lot of rehab is going to be going into them.
100%. Deferred maintenance is one of the numero uno problems downtown because a lot of people, they inherited the building or whatever, a new roof costs tens of thousands of dollars. So a lot of people just put a bucket under there and ride it out for a little while and stuff like that.
Is there any financial assistance or other assistance for people to refurbish those buildings? Because I know a lot of those buildings are owned by an entity that has a lot of money that we won't get into, but some of those buildings are owned by like just regular ass people. Is there any assistance to help build those back to what they could be?
Yeah, the city has a couple of different programs. They have a facade grant program, and they also have TIF. That's a whole episode
Tax
of its
incremental
own.
funding, yes.
Yeah, tax increment financing is
financing,
a
not
specific district they create, and a portion of their property tax goes into a fund, and it is there to eliminate blight. So that money is supposed to be reinvested into those properties, and people can tap into that. I think you get 25% of the total project cost. And then also, if you're really wanting to do it right, there are historic preservation tax credits that you can get from the state and the federal government to chip away at some more bills that you have when you're doing a major restoration. So there are resources out there for people.
Okay.
And that's really a big part of what we do behind the scenes. People know us as the party planning group, and we love that. You know, that's what brings people downtown to shop and dine and be entertained and make cash registers ring. You know, that's why we do the things we do, the event wise. You know, it's to create, you know, a social interactions and create culture and create places where people want to be and gather together and build relationships and stuff. But, you know, behind the scenes, we do all kinds of small business support. Really, fundamentally, maybe I'll rewind a little bit. A lot of people think that we made up Main Street in Alton. This is a nationwide program.
Yeah.
It was created by the National Trust for Historic Preservation because they saw across the country in the 70s and 80s, everybody moved to the burbs. Everybody started building shopping malls and strip malls, and everybody's historic downtowns across the country started to crumble. And they thought, we're going to lose all this important architecture if we don't figure out a way to have a community-led, you know, reinvestment in your downtown. And so they started this program and piloted it in a few communities in like the late 70s. And Alton jumped on board in 1995.
There's several even smaller towns that are smaller than Alton that have Main Street.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What's the closest one to us besides Alton?
Well, Wood River just became one, which is super
Really?
exciting. Yeah.
They're really trying to boom up their downtown, I've noticed.
They did. And the me of Wood River, her name was Kristen Burns. She was on my board of directors back when I started. So she
I know who
totally
she
knows
is.
the drill, knows what it's all about. And I was so excited. I actually went and spoke at a Wood River City Council meeting when they were trying to decide whether to fund the program. And, you know, told them about all the benefits that we've gotten. You know, Main Street doesn't give you any money. What they give you is training and, you know, all sorts of best practices. You have a whole network of the U's all over the country. We have a message board where we can post questions and people can say, well, when I tried that in my town, this happened, or here are some pitfalls to avoid. You know, it's a really giving network. I mean, I can't tell you how many times that we have webinars every other Wednesday. We all get together on Zoom and people just bounce ideas off of other people, and they're like, oh yeah, I did something really similar. I'll send you the budget and the timeline and the to-do list, and give people a jump start on doing things in their own town. It's just really cool like that.
So how's Main Street funded?
We are funded partially by the city, but it is specifically the food and beverage tax, and that can only be used for economic development. It can't be used to pay cops or to fix roads or to anything like that.
I know that people think that you guys are in charge of the roads a lot, too.
Wait, people think you're in charge of the roads?
Sometimes.
Can we just take a moment to say people who go on the comment section of anything good happening in town and immediately start in all caps about fix the roads?
Yep.
Please learn how the world works. Please just take 20 minutes of your time to Google, how does the world work? I mean, not all grants come from the government, A. Not all grants that are specifically designated for one thing, like public art, for example, can then be just taken and used for a different purpose. The funder giving you the money tells you what they want you to do with the money, and then you go execute that. You can't just change their mind and say, as a matter of fact, we don't want to do that mural. We want to fix this pothole. That's just not how it works, people.
Yeah, but now you're going to get a bunch of people mad at the fact that the motor fuels tax mostly fixes the roads, and they're going to be like, Illinois gas tax too high. What? Now how road fix? Oh no! Oh no! And then their head just goes poop.
That's true. Well, if we can encourage these people to think bigger picture and longer term, what the formula is we do these things that increase our sales tax and our, you know, property tax and everything like that. And that's the money that's used to fix the roads.
Yep.
So don't complain about the smaller, you know, things that we're all doing to improve our town, because that means more visitors, that means more residents, and that is
the
the
events
money.
you put on, it does like increases visits to restaurants and shops. So it's like you're going to be doing
Networking, marketing, it's
yes.
beautiful. So the 50% of the funding that isn't coming from the Fix the Road City, where does that come from?
We get about a quarter of our annual
quarter.
budget from the city.
Okay, a quarter.
About another quarter or so from sponsorships. So we are out there meeting with bank presidents and CEOs and showing them everything we've done in the past and saying, wouldn't you like to invest in seeing more of this kind of thing in the future? And, you know, we have a lot of great corporate sponsors that year after year love to see our progress, and they love having their logo at the bottom of our posters on all the positive things that we're doing. So we've built a lot of great relationships in that regard. And then, you know, a big portion of our money just comes from earned income, things like ticket sales and vendor fees and, you know, different things like that we, you know, charge people to cover the overhead of the things that we're putting on that they're a part of. So, yeah, we're really committed to, you know, keeping everything really reasonable and affordable.
Speaking of events and tickets, though, so of all the events that Alton Main Street puts on, what is your personal favorite? And
Oh, now you're asking her to pick a favorite kid, dude.
No, I know, but like what? I mean, I know they're all important to you, but yeah, there is a favorite kid. I have a favorite kid.
Wait, can I bet on it? Can we bet on it? I'm gonna say it's Earth Tones.
I'm gonna say it's Earth Tones. That's what I was going for too.
Because I know it's Earth Tones. It's the one that you get a T-shirt for volunteering at.
You know, that is true. If I had to pick one, that would probably be it. Just because, you know, my friend Christine Favila and I literally created that entire thing from the ground up. I mean,
It's gotten so big and
really,
so much fun.
Two of the most powerful people in Alton, by the way. Just like personal aura. Like you and Christine, it's just like, oh, something has entered the room. I sense a power level.
Honestly, like when we get together and we're both spreadsheet people, you know, we both have really good left brain and right brain working together kind of thing. We're both super creative, but we will both love a good spreadsheet. So when we get our brain power together, we feel unstoppable anyway. We're like, there's nothing that we can't overcome, no, you know, glitch that we can't find a workaround for. And, you know, if you guys were there in the early years, you know, it was just 10 tents in Riverfront Park along
I was
the
going to
sidewalk.
ask, how did that start? When did Earth Tones
Wait a second.
start?
I think we should go to a break and then bring it back with Earth Tones.
Yes.
I think we should do Earth Tones after a little tiny breaky poo. Y'all down? Y'all down for like a little
I'm
10 fair?
down.
All right, cool. Breaky poo. You could click the bell notification and then it'll alert you whenever we drop new videos. That's how I find out. It rings my phone and says,
It does with mine too, yeah.
yes, so I can press drop the new video. I'm like, oh shit, better peep it. Better peep that shit. Boss makes $1, I make a dime. I watch Sunken Press on company time. Yeah, dog. That's a real one. You're a real one if you're stealing company time and watching us. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're like doing your mundane office chores and we're just in your headphones talking mad.
You don't have to watch us. You can listen. We're on Spotify as well. Like, we're on all of them.
Just where you get your podcast, type in Sunken Press and you'll hear us. You won't be able to see that guy put a spike
That was
in his
super
nose.
cool. Or the cool, like, there's show and tells a lot of times.
Or Nicole eating an herb that tastes like gasoline.
It really did taste
I loved it, but she didn't. All right, so we're back with Sara McGibany, and we left off talking about Mississippi Earth Tones, the favorite child of yours from Main Street. So you talked about how it was only 10 tents? 10
Yeah,
tents.
our first time was tiny. We came from very humble beginnings.
When was that?
Well, this will be the 19th annual this year.
Okay, so like right after you took over Main Street, you're like, we need a thing.
Yeah, Christine and I started cooking this up from the get-go. I mean, it was an initiative from the state of Illinois called It's Our River Day, and they asked all of the river towns all along, you know, the Mississippi to do something about recreation, conservation, or education of the city or the state's waterways. So we decided to do all three and more. You know,
Overachiever,
I
Sarah.
do love it.
So you know, Christine and I are festival goers. You know, we go to festivals all over the country. So we've always been gathering ideas. Wouldn't this be cool if, you know, and gathering our notebook full of ideas. And we were like, let's just start one and see what we can grow it into. So yeah, we were down there, you know, just under a pavilion in the park, and we watched the whole amphitheater be built over the course of 4 years while our event was going on. And then eventually, you know, when it was done, of course, we moved over there. And, you know, it really only in the last 4 or so years has really evolved into what we envisioned in our mind the whole time. I mean, in the beginning years, we were having to really get on the phone and email and talk all of these conservation groups into attending, you know, and, you know, tell them about our vision of what it could be eventually. And, you know, all these groups have plenty to do with their own mission. They all have their own events. They all have their own missions that they're working on. But, we year after year, we just say, it's really important. Just keep the third Saturday in September reserved on your calendar because this is our date. We're going to do this forevermore. We're going to build this into something incredible. So now, thankfully, we don't have to, really beat the street to get people to attend. We actually have to set a date that we review all the registrations and we get to pick the kind of cream of the crop of all the people who are doing awesome ecological things in our area. So
I love how family friendly it is too. And like the last few years that I've gone, it's nice because I can take my daughter there during the day to do the Jacoby art projects. And she still has a little box that she got there that you can put like, sticks and stones and papers and decorate it, little cigar boxes. But then also at a certain time I drop her off, make her brother watch her, and I come back. And then we have our adult time and dance and group to the music and enjoy the day.
Something for everybody.
There is.
Yeah, a number of years ago, we decided to create a passport for all the kids' activities because people were, we were here after
That
the fact.
is a
I missed
great
that. I didn't hear
idea.
that. We were like, okay, let's just put it all on one piece of paper, stamp style, and have everybody go around and find all the activities because there's always a dozen or more booths that have
So many.
awesome crafts and educational things for the kids to do. They learn about, water quality.
Shit, I learn about stuff from just doing that stuff with her.
Same here, yeah.
Great.
But, we have experts and scientists and, people are just absolutely at the top of their field in all of these different areas that have to do with, air quality and water quality and what we can do, to green our own homes and things like that. And it's just really cool
You're
to see
introducing
it evolve.
several generations to that because I didn't know much. This is the first river town I've ever lived in. So coming here, I didn't know. I was like, this is a big deal.
It's a big part of our culture. I love that river.
After 8 years, I love it. I respect it. I can get down with it. But when I was a little confused at first, I was like, well, this is cool. But like, I just never lived this close to water.
I mean, listen, I don't like hippie shit and I don't like jam bands, but I go every year to Earth Tones. Love it. Cannot say it enough. It's one of the best places to find cool local vendors who are doing shit that like no one else is doing. Also, it's a great place to talk to people that grow cool shit. Like, I don't know if that or Old Bakery's where I found Flourish Farms. I know CJ's Juicery has stuff down there. I know Old Bakery. It's like a really cool community festival you've put on. So like, as somebody who's not a part of the festy culture, like arguably violently not a part of the festy culture. Like, I'm a hipster. I like esoteric fucking Radiohead albums. Like, I just like to jam alone in a basement, but I will not miss an Earth Tones if I can help it.
Well,
like, I will go
appreciate
there
that.
every year, and I'll be like, tie-dye, jam bands. Oh, fuck, this is the most fun, though. Like,
It really
Honestly,
It's so much fun.
the
I
hippies are in
love
full
it.
force in this town. Love it or hate it, we are
Oh,
en masse.
yeah.
We are the ones that come out to things like this. Honestly, we have on occasion tried to stray a little bit from the jam band stuff and whatever
Don't
we
do
do. Our crowd size plummets.
Yeah,
These
no.
are the people who come out to these things. These are the people that are in the front row dancing. This is what we do. We encourage other people who do different genres and help them do what they do. But this is what we do really well, so we're sticking
Yeah,
with it.
no, we are a hippie town. Like, we are a deadhead town. Like, I can hate on it all day, but to hate on the people who love it would be to hate on my community itself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I will tolerate music I don't like to support a community I love. One of the signifiers that Alton's a weirdo town is the amount of deadheads we have. It's like, oh, there's hippies everywhere. This whole town's full of hippies. All right, I feel better here. I feel safe here. Like,
That's true.
like, I might not like hippie culture, but I prefer it to most others.
You
Like,
get lots of hugs, yeah.
yeah, it's like, all right, these people are cool. They're not fascists. They're like chill. We have a lot in common. We both love the environment and psychedelics. Like it's a good time, you know?
Venn diagram overlap, I feel like.
Of hippie and hipster.
Hippie. Yeah, like.
'Cause, like, I'm a
there's
hipster.
Common, yeah, they're like that. Yeah, there's more that there's a little middle spot.
There has to be, because I know hippies like go real deep into like some obscure jam bands where like, bro, have you heard this 25-minute guitar solo of this Dead cover band from like out in the middle of nowhere, man? And it's like, no, I haven't. And then my ass judges them, but then I'm like, yo, have you heard those 1995 Neutral Milk Hotel drops, like the Ferris Wheel on Fire EP? And it's like, we sound the exact same. We're saying the same shit. I'm just more misanthropic.
You can learn from one another.
I don't know.
too.
See, I like all genres of music, but like if I
Typical.
get high enough,
Basic.
I'll bop to Christian hip hop. Like I
What?
won't even know. I'll just be like, there's a beat, and then I'll be like,
Mine's Russian hard bass, where it's like, I don't know what they're saying. It's just like, boom, 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 boom,
they could be
boom.
singing about Jesus.
No, they're definitely not singing about, I think it's vodka and women.
I don't know.
So-
Them churches, they have embraced secular music, so they have. They're just like, we're gonna get you. It's like a sneaky.
It is sneaky. So back to Main Street. That was a beautiful tangent though. No, like genuinely adored that tangent. That was spot on.
Main Street. Okay.
So on Main
But,
Street.
you know,
So
we're not only jam bands either, though.
No,
we
I
do have
know.
an eclectic mix of all the different.
literally
music
what
that
I
we
was
book.
about to talk about.
This year we actually have a Steely Dan tribute that is going to be playing in the middle of the day.
What?
yeah.
Are
So
you
excited.
fucking kidding me?
No, I'm not. They're called Any Major Dudes, and I went and saw them at the Rock House. A friend of mine had been talking them up for a long time, and honestly, I of course knew that I knew a handful of Steely Dan tunes, but I was in
The
the
best
front row.
songs ever.
I know every one of these songs. This is a 10-piece band with a horn section and the whole bit. It's gonna be
That is gonna be nice.
crazy.
I'm having a reaction. I love Steely Dan so fucking much.
You're
Deacon
extra stoked
Blue
for
is
this year.
Asia is one of the best albums ever. I have it on vinyl. Dog,
Stoked.
any Steely Dan song is so good. It's so.
Agreed.
And you just got
I'm
done shit
stoked.
talking.
I shit talk hippies. No, don't get me wrong. I will shit talk jam bands till the day I die. And I will not be a Grateful Dead. I will be an ungrateful dead. But Steely Dan is a totally different story. Steely Dan is like one of the foundations of rock and roll. Steely Dan is one of the most instrumentally complex, great bands of our times.
So this is gonna be like the best.
I'll get
show
down.
ever for you.
Yeah.
You're.
I'll get down to some Steely Dan cover band.
And
Yeah.
get down early. You know, we always get local bands up on stage too. Spilling Ellison is opening it up for us this year, and they're an awesome band. And we've got Gordo who's coming and plays a little set of his one-man 10-piece band between
I
the
remember
bigger
that.
bands.
Yeah,
So,
I
it's
like
just
him a lot.
Day full of live music. 100 different booths of all different things you can find and explore, and artists that are doing the coolest upcycling thing. You know, it's all about earth friendliness. So, you know, we get to go through all these applications and just see some of this cool stuff that people are turning trash into treasure every day. And
Oh, absolutely. So that's in September. This is going to air in about a week. It's going to air probably the night of the night market. So tell
that
us.
might be my second favorite kid.
All right, tell us about that. Tell us about
and
the
you
night
changed
market.
the location this year, so.
Yeah, I heard it's in a new place because that park between the what was Germania and what was Jacoby Arts Center. Lots of heaviness with that pause. Is now occupied. So downtown, it's going to be between Cat Daddies and Hiram's, or
Cat Daddy's in Shea, Maryland.
Okay,
It's
there we go.
basically the only patch of grass in the 3rd Street zone, you know. But Cat Daddy's is recently under new ownership, and Miles Angel and Ryan, the new owners, have been just super swung the door open. They're creating a really friendly atmosphere.
I've heard
We
great
immediately went
things.
in there and pitched this idea to them, like, what would you think about us moving this right outside
And they were
our door?
receptive?
They're super supportive.
think
Yeah,
of all the
they-
foot traffic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they see our vision too of really just trying to kind of have the entertainment area down in the 3rd and State area, like just really having that pop off this year. I mean, there's so many new businesses that have opened up, you know, with Jacoby moving in right there, another Mooneyham Art Gallery. I mean, people don't even realize, they know that their few favorite bars or restaurants or whatever, but they just aren't even thinking about the fact that over the past 5-10 years, we've had all kinds of retail open up. You know, the olive oil store, we got Cocoa and
I
Milk
love
down
that.
there
I
now.
Yeah.
love that store.
We literally
Cards, CJ's. I mean, there's so much more than just bars down there anymore.
Yup.
Everybody's going to be staying open late for night market, so we really encourage
Yeah.
everybody to come and just take a stroll. You know, pop your head into all
I
of these
do love
different
that.
shops and
And
see what's
Shea,
new.
Maryland's coming back. Like, that's great. Like, that's something we talked about with Funky Planet, where it's like people don't even know they're down there because they're so used to their normal routine.
So
and
true.
so, like, what are some other cool businesses in Alton that have popped up in the last few years that like need some more attention because they're like just and I don't mean for you to like pick a favorite or like leave anyone out, but like
Anything that comes to mind.
anything that comes to mind, like some new stuff that people need to be more aware of.
I would say Alton Music Exchange is at the top of the list for sure.
That's right next to the conservatory in Grand Paisa, correct?
Exactly, right there.
Yeah, they just got a new awning.
Broadway. That was last year. They were
That was last
winner
year?
of one of our facade grants. So that's kind of the before and after photo we're using to promote this year, is to say, here's the kind of thing that this grant is for, is to help people dress up the front of their buildings. Yeah, Jared and Jenny really have done amazing things with that place, and it's great to be able to get lessons. Find new gear. Now they have a whole area where you can learn how to repair your own instruments and things like that. So yeah, they're having little workshops to teach people the basics, how to restring your guitar, all the way up to how to work on the electronics and stuff like that. So
And they do lessons. Well,
they do. Yep.
And I just saw a post about a violin repair coming in.
Just learned about that today.
I did see that today. And I was
Yeah,
like,
Jacoby
that's very
violin
niche,
repair.
though. Is
Yeah, I
there-
already asked. No relation that they're aware of to the Jacoby Art Center. It just
Yeah.
happens to be the same name, but it is going to be in the former Rushmore building. I'd heard recently that it's sold, and I've been holding my breath to hear what's going in there. And how cool! I mean, it's going to be a violin store, focused on that, rentals, but also sales and repairs and different things like that. So
that is very niche. Is there a market for violins in Alton?
tons of violin and fiddle players in the area. I've got a fiddle player in my band. Yeah. But
Okay.
Erin Joe Paddlefoot. She's one
Yeah,
of the
that's a good
performers in
point.
Night Market. She plays a mean violin. So
Oh, she's amazing.
got
Yeah.
a number of violinists in the area. It's super cool to have something like that is so specific to them.
Okay. Yeah. No, I love that. Then, you opened my eyes to because I was thinking violin, prim and proper, but also fiddle.
Oh yeah,
Same instrument, same damn instrument. I dig this a
You
lot.
know the difference between violin and fiddle?
Oh, the way you play it.
Violin has strings and the fiddle has strangs.
I love you.
That was beautiful. So
That was
so
a Sarah dad joke.
so we're also going to air this after the Pup Crawl, which is an event where people bring their dogs to local bars and have a great day of it. And when's the All Wheels Drive-In car show?
That is on Sunday, June 8th.
Okay, is there still time to register? Because I could clean up the Vic out there, make it look
We
pretty.
don't even take pre-registration for that. We have people pull right
show
in
up?
State Street and you pay on site. It's only $10 if you want to display your wheels for the day, or if you actually want to be in the competition and be judged, it's $20. So yeah, we're that's one thing that, when I got this job, it was something that Main Street already did. I don't know jack about cars, but we have
Same, I
a
was gonna
great,
say that's not something.
I
I'll
know
get in town
way
anyway,
too much
but-
about cars.
we've got a great partnership with the car club. They just come down and do all the, judging and peek under the hood and do all that part. But, that's kind of what Main Street is. We're like a structure for other people who are really passionate about something and need the framework, where we've helped so many people just bring their ideas to life, It's,
So I have to ask. So I feel like you've guided people to find their passion within their organization and how to help.
Yeah, you have a town full of proteges.
Did you have that when you started? Was there a Sarah that kind of
Who's
taught you
Sarah's
the ropes?
mentor?
Who's Sarah?
gosh, that's a good question. I mean, when I was first getting into this, the people that I really looked up to were like Bruce Bertolino and Jennifer Campbell, all the people that were really involved in the weed and seed strategy. I mean, I was involved in that, when I first started. It was just really
Both are
inspiring.
awesome.
Yeah, to see folks. I mean, the whole concept is perfect. You're weeding out the stuff that is not good, and you're seeding in its place positive things that people, it's all about, taking care of your community and civic pride and getting to know your neighbors and, building relationships and stuff. So that was a program that really inspired me from the beginning, and thought, that's really, you can't do these things from an office. You've got to be boots on the ground. You've got to be knocking on doors, meeting people, shaking hands, getting to know other people, getting introduced. It's really just about the connections for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And Jennifer and Bruce are both amazing people who are still contributing their knowledge to this community.
That's true.
So-
And it's so funny because they'd already been doing it for quite a while by the time I came on the scene. And it was just funny to kind of hear them, it's hard to do this kind of a job, especially when the people that are supposed to be supporting you and lifting you up are sometimes your biggest roadblocks. And it's frustrating. And, you get a
And
little
we're not
bit
going to ask
jaded
you about
and-
that stuff, but we want
Yeah, we're-
to know.
we're trying to
We
be
want know.
positive.
We're trying to be good.
We're trying to be good, positive people.
Agreed,
Is
but,
there
it's
any
funny.
roadblocks you want to talk about?
Roadblocks.
Like things that get in the way of your mission and that you've had to overcome.
Not really. I mean, just having more hours in the day is the only thing that would be helpful. I mean, we do not have any sort of shortage of good ideas. It really is just having the resources to be able to execute everything. I mean, everybody loves things like murals, but to do a good mural costs $20,000, $30,000, so I think people really need to start putting their money where their mouth is when they see a element that they want to grow or have more of. Pitch in. You've got to volunteer. You've got to show up. You've got to donate. You've got to, everybody that always says somebody should do something about that. You're somebody. You've got to show up. And a lot of people wonder, like, how do these bands get chosen? Blah, 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 stuff like that. It's the people who show up to the committee meetings where we're talking about who we want to book. That's all you got to do is show up. The people who are at the table get to make the decisions, and the table is wide open to anyone.
And I've seen you guys advertise for that and for vendors and things like that.
Oh, yeah. We gotta arms wide open. The more the merrier on anything. Sometimes we do limit it like handmade and homegrown only because we don't want the market to turn into a flea market or something like that.
That's a good lead-in. That's a great lead-in.
That's a great lead-in.
Yes.
All right. So we talked to Sam Dublo last night, and he said that every farmer's market he's ever been to, somebody buys their produce off Produce Row in St. Louis and sells it as if it's homegrown. He says Alton Farmers Market's no exception, but he added a caveat. He said that you and Farmer Bob work to ensure the veracity. Is that it? Is that the word? I don't know. No, it's not.
Integrity
of the produce sold at the Alton Farmers Market. He said not a lot of people have that, but the Alton Farmers Market has people to inspect that produce. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. We are 100% committed to remaining a true farmers and artisans market. And it was somewhere around a decade ago that we started to hear, little reports, little whisperings here and there about, I think that guy's trucking that up from Arkansas. Or I think, obviously nobody's going to try to sell oranges and get away with it like they do at the
Oh,
Soulard
they do that? I was going to say that. They had dragon fruit. I was like, come on, guys.
Well, it's funny. About a decade or so ago, the Soulard Farmers Market created an actual farmers market within their farmers market.
Yep,
so they could designate which stuff actually was homegrown.
And
which
you can kind of tell what's in season and not in season most of the time.
And he talks about the perfection of it.
He gave us some tips on how to identify.
Yeah, he did give us some tips, but also I like that. I like that the Alton Farmers Market's like, you know what? No, you're not going to sell shit.
And it's the only time that I'm down with other people tattling.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just like, yeah, tattle.
Yeah.
So about 10 years ago or so, we instituted that farm inspection program. We have a form with everything that they are supposedly checking. We send a fellow farmer out there to their property. They show them their greenhouse. If they are selling apples or peaches, we want to see your orchard, stuff like that. So we do have a farm inspection process where we go out and physically have, look at everything that they're doing to make sure that we guard against that as much as humanly possible.
God, that's nice.
That is nice.
Yeah, that makes me feel better.
Yeah,
So
and everything's got to be grown within a 50-mile radius too. So we are
50 miles as the crow flies, right? Because I know you get some stuff from Calhoun, and that could be a little further than 50 miles if we're going to Campsville.
I'm not sure. I know we have a couple old timers who've been with us for a really long time who are grandfathered in and come from a little bit further north or south. Or something. But yeah, by and large, for anybody new, especially, the 50-mile radius is what
I feel like that's better than just getting it from the grocery store.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I don't care if you're 54 miles away up in Calhoun. Like, to me, Calhoun's local, but I'm also a man of this region where it's everything from Belleville to Campsville is the same place, really. I mean, go out east of Vandalia, it's all just the same chunk. So yeah, no, I really appreciate the dedication that has. And also I love grocery shopping down there at the farmer's market. My favorite is Clifford.
Wealth of information.
Oh my God, the most information. You get the black garlic, you get the garlic scapes, you get the goose foot, you get the Jerusalem artichokes.
It's got the weird varieties of everything.
Yeah, he's
Talking to your farmer and learning about the growing process is just fascinating too. It really is. You hear about their struggles and you hear about their wins, and it's awesome to be able to know the person who actually grew your food.
1000%. And it's a really good way to network and build community. It looks like we're getting close to break number 2 though. Yep. You wanna take break number 2 and then talk about how anyone in Alton can get involved with Alton Main Street?
Certainly.
Oh, yes, I like that. I like that idea. All right, break number 2. Watch our videos, subscribe, tell your friends. Go find us on social media and talk to us there. Send us some photos that you could be our photo of the night. I want some old shit.
There's some really pretty photos too.
I know, but I want some old shit. I want some like 60s Alton. I want some 90s Alton. I want some 80s Alton. I want to like see what Alton was as well as what it is now. Like, I love it. I love the pictures that you guys send of the moon and the bridge and of dirty bathrooms and of cute cats and dogs. Like, send all of it. All right, Sarah, we're back. And before the break, I hinted that I wanted to talk about how anyone can get involved in Main Street. I've been involved in Main Street. I was on your board like 10 years ago. It was a great experience.
You contributed in many ways. Your MC abilities.
Oh,
your
I
brute
forgot
strength,
about that.
everything
Yeah.
involved. Yeah.
I forgot about that time I emceed that. That was crazy. I was insane and unhinged.
Did a great job.
I had fun. Another thing is I've told people millions of times, well, not millions, but probably hundreds. They're like, how can I get involved in Alton more? And I'm like, well, you could go to city council meetings, you could plant native plants, and you could volunteer with Alton Main Street. It's like, I don't mean to like diminish anything, but it's the easiest way to volunteer in Alton.
Well,
Like,
thanks. We hope to have an open door. I mean, really, it's anything that you're looking to do as well. You know, if you're an outgoing person and you want to be the person stationed at the information booth and answer questions for folks in the crowd, that's definitely needed. If you're a gardener, that's probably our biggest need. We take care of all of the garden beds throughout the whole downtown district. So,
I've seen all of
yeah,
theirs.
we've got a couple of standing dates every month where we go out and we have bonus projects pop up all the time. So if plants are your jam, please do contact us. We would love to have your help digging in the dirt. But we also have like an economic development committee. So if you're passionate about helping small businesses compete with the Walmarts and the Amazons of the world, we are always coming up with educational opportunities and funding opportunities for small businesses to try to help them do their thing and, you know, live their passion. You know, everybody should be able to be an entrepreneur if they want to. You know, a lot of people, they don't like the stress. They'd rather just clock in and clock out and forget about work at 5 o'clock. But other people have a drive to have a product or a service and they want to invest their life in it. And they end up working twice as many hours for themselves as they did with somebody else. But it feeds
more
their life,
fulfilling.
you know?
I mean, that's kind of what
that's
we're
where
doing
I'm
right now. Where all of us have day jobs, but here we are with our free time.
And eventually I'm going
this.
to make time for this and for cooking. Honestly, doing the farmers market a couple years ago was the best experience. And I learned so much. And it is
I love
down there,
farmers.
it is a community. Like I get so
Yes.
many advice from other people. They were so kind and just welcoming. And it really wasn't like other bakers would come and compliment, you know. Tanya Fox from Fox's Boxes would like I met her through that, and I just farmers market is near and dear to me. It is an amazing.
Love it.
It's a huge collaboration. People don't even realize how, these people are not in competition with one another at all. It is like a big family. Everybody helps one another, and it's just super cool.
I mean, I do know that I've met people at the farmers market and through the farmers market that have become lifelong friends, like Molly and Sarah from Renegade Herbals. Like they came to our wedding. Like I love them. They are such a mainstay of the farmers market. Like I'll go down there and be like, we aren't spending any excess money this week, Tabitha. And she's like, but look at the earrings they make. And I'm like, damn it, they are really nice and they would fit most of your outfits. All right, we're buying earrings, but that's it. We can't splurge on anything else. And it's like, but they made D&D dice. They made a 3D dinosaur. And I'm
Great
like,
example of an evolving business. They've been
Yes.
listening to what their customers want and adding new products every single year. That's
Very
awesome
aware
to
of
see
that.
People blossoming, growing, discovering new paths, and you know that's really what the farmers market is for: is to help people get input from their customers and fail fast. A lot of people think that this is what they want to do for the rest of their lives. They get a little taste of it, and they're like, "Glad I didn't sign a 12-month lease or something, because then I would be stuck to this." It's a way for people to test out things and get feedback. And I always am trying to remind everybody that every one of those little tents is a small business. And we have had a bunch of success stories of people graduating from doing the markets up to brick and mortar or into, you know, collaborative arrangements like, you know, all the consignment shops and booth rentals in town and stuff like that. And even outside of town, you know, Tanya that you mentioned, she went and started a restaurant in Bethalto. You know, I mean, it's a regional business incubator. It really helps people get a start with
And
a lot of
it's
support.
low stakes, which is I appreciate.
yeah, like
I-
how can
I-
somebody
yeah.
do this? Like how can somebody get involved in the farmers market and like set up a booth?
Bring $12 down and we'll sign you up on site and show you to your spot.
That is such an easy investment.
low overhead, low risk. Exactly.
So low overhead. And you have to like provide your own table and awning and whatnot.
It's BYO everything.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There was a guy a couple of years ago. He was doing massages.
Yeah.
I remember the massage guy.
A couple doors down from me.
Yeah.
And I
We
was
don't
like,
usually do services, but it's kind of like if it really fits. You know, we had a lot of people say how nice would it be to have chair massagers, not just for the shoppers. A lot of the vendors took their 10-minute break over there and did it.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got a guy who sharpens knives, and we're like,
I saw
that
it.
goes perfectly with people cutting up their produce. Come on in, knife sharpener. You know?
Yeah, no, it's like a one-stop shop for like all of your I'm gonna make breakfast with this later needs. Like you can get eggs, you can get some mushrooms to throw in your scrambled eggs, little greens to throw in there. Like I love the fact you brought mushrooms back.
Yeah,
Farmer
that's
Bob's got the
Farmer Bob.
mushrooms.
People
got
were
lion's
asking.
mane.
We've had a couple of mushroom vendors come and go over the years, but people are always asking about it. So I'm
mushrooms
glad
are
you
one of my
added that.
favorite things ever. So there was like a years ago, I can't remember what they were called.
Adam and Jade.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still friends with both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and I actually got a bunch of their dried lines made.
I think
whenever
they
were
had
moving.
puffs or whatever, the puff mushrooms.
Oh yeah, like pump balls.
Yeah, no, they did like their own operation in their basement, and I got a bunch of dried lions made from them. Jade actually gave me an industrial dehydrator that I'm using to process our garden oregano that I got from you. I got 2 pounds of that shit dried and crushed in a mortar and pestle.
Love it.
And like all of this from the farmer's market. Just from
circle.
going down and hanging out at the farmer's market, making friends. I've got like a dehydrator, a bunch of oregano. It's great. Like honestly, if you haven't been to the Alton Farmer's Market, you are missing the fuck out.
You really are.
What are you doing? I mean, I like to sleep in on Saturday mornings. I really do, but I will give that up to wake up early and beat the crowd in the heat and be like, all right, it's 8:30. You know what? I was up till 3 a.m. I don't care. I'm going to the farmer's market. I'm going to come home. I'm going to make this bacon I got from Mark with that smoked Gouda-ass cheese. We'll make some eggs. I'm going to eat this brunch. I'm going to go the fuck back to bed. I'm going to wake up in the late afternoon and garden. Throw in some starters I got down there impulsively. It's going to be great. It's such
Affecting your whole lifestyle.
It
Seriously.
does. It really does. I've become a farmer's market guy. And it's
Glad you
weird.
ended up here.
No, I mean, I knew I did. I knew if I'd lived past the age of 28, I would become a farmer's market guy. It's the hipster pipeline where it's like,
Truth.
yeah, I'm going to die young and be a poet. And it's like, I'm going to live to be in my mid 30s at least. I'm going to go to the farmer's market. I'm still going to write weird poems in the middle of the night. And
You should come set up a booth and sell those poems.
I need to buy a typewriter. If I buy a typewriter, I thought about it. I'll just be like, hey, give me a
You can make
topic.
it was on the spot poem.
Yeah, I can write a poem in like 10
yeah,
minutes.
That
man.
would be
idea.
awesome.
Yeah.
Have you seen that meme going around that it's a tent and that has a sign that says like advice from grumpy old men or something? I've always wanted, if
Yes.
anybody out there would like to do that at our market, I think that would go over swimmingly.
Oh,
come up
man.
and-
I was thinking about
some
having
advice.
my dog tell fortunes, but it's just me fucking with people.
You have to have a fortune telling license in Alton.
What?
Yes.
$450.
It's like $450.
Yeah, it is.
You cannot sell your fortune telling abilities without a license in Alton, and it's crazy. I have no idea why that is. I don't know who started that,
What
but it is
about, like,
facts.
Vibes, not fortune, just like vibes. I give you vibes.
Yeah, we're looking at technicalities to the fortune telling law right now. Don't mind us.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, that's a lot
There
of money.
has to be a workaround.
Like,
Yeah, there definitely has to be a workaround. But how can somebody get involved with Alton Main Street as a volunteer?
go to downtownalton.com/volunteer. And we will have buttons for a sign-up sheet for everything that we do where you can sign up for a shift. And like I said, just scan the list for things that are in your wheelhouse. You know, if you would like to use your muscle, great. If you would like to use your extrovertedness, great. If you would like to use, your research skills, anything like that. We have a whole huge wide variety of things that we do, and anybody can find a place to fit in.
That's why I tell everybody it's the easiest way to volunteer. It's like the entry-level volunteer position and all. And it's so rewarding. You make so many friends volunteering with Main Street.
That's true.
Like you get to see the people who make real change in the community. You get to learn from them. You get to grow with them. And you get to give your talents to something that's rewarding. I mean, there's really no losing with volunteering with Main Street. It's something I've always told people they should do. Like somebody's new around here, they're like, I want to make new friends and volunteer with Main Street.
Yeah, I've had a number of people who recently moved to town tell me that when they come to their first meeting, they're like, we just Googled how to get more involved, and your organization just always pops up. So we thought we would just show up, and it's just like, welcome, you're in the right spot. You know, it's so cool to be, you know, thought of as the group where you can come and get plugged in, you know, when you're new to town and want to start meeting people who are like-minded, and you start Googling things you like, and we just keep popping up, and it's just like kind of like a natural fit. People just kind of swoop on in and they find their place. I mean, we have a ready-made audience for a lot of things. People kind of bring bright ideas to us pretty often, and what we usually try to do is kind of incorporate that into something that we're already doing. You know, for example, somebody was really adamant that we need a pet parade in Alton. We need to be, you know, like Dogtown. We need to have a Mardi Gras pet parade or whatever. And I'm like, how about we turn that into a canine carnival down at the farmer's market, and we do the pet parade through the corridor of booths.
I love that. Wednesday
there,
one year, she was the pet ambassador.
Oh, that's so cute. But I mean, it's like, why try to start something from the ground up, from nothing, from zero, and try to attract enough attention to make it something, when you can have an audience that's already there and will just get you plugged in. I mean, we have a 24-week season, and we're looking for something special to do every week. So if you would have an idea that you're cooking up and you would like to, we'll even help you with your supplies needed for it, or we'll help you with extra volunteer manpower if you can't do it all solo. I mean, we really are nimble enough that we can take people's great ideas and figure out how to help them make it happen.
And you're very open-minded.
Sometimes I tell people, don't let me sound like a wet blanket on your great idea, but did you know that this is involved? This
Fortune
expense
telling
happens.
wise.
Fortune telling. I'm telling
Exactly. You know, I will just give it to you straight up. If you've got a brilliant idea, I'm saying, great, but here's what your budget's going to need to look like, because you're going to have to hire cops for security. You need insurance. You know, to do anything on city property, you need $1 million insurance, liability insurance policy. People don't realize that, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, if you've got an idea, I've sat down with so many groups, Alton Pride, Rock the Hops, everybody. At the very beginning, people are like, I have this thing in my mind. It's going to happen. I need you to just kind of help me walk through my idea and let me know if there's anything I'm missing here. And I am happy to spend hours, attend meetings
and
with
you are
anybody,
so busy.
you know?
Still, anytime I hit you up and have a question, you're so responsive, and I do appreciate
Yes.
that's one thing. You are very, as busy as you are, you always make time to answer questions and to teach people.
I really do try to do that for sure. Chantel's helped quite a bit, because that was really the thing. Like I started feeling that gap widen, and I couldn't get back to people within 24 hours and 48 hours and maybe a week. I'm like, I need some help here. You know, it's too big for one person. Our organization has grown so much over the past 20 years that our capacity needs to grow as well. So if you're out there and you have a business, we would really welcome you as a partner. You know, it's $100 a year to be a partner. That means you get to put all of your stuff in our monthly newsletters. You get to join me on the radio if you like. You know, we get to post your stuff all over social media. We've got a really good social media following. I mean, especially the new businesses that have opened up, like the last 3 that we've posted, they immediately get 100 likes and shares. It's like a small business can't afford that type of marketing. And we're able to use our megaphone to get the word out and amplify what's going on and get more eyeballs on it.
Do we qualify for Main Street, since we're a electronic thing with no real tangible location? Like, we're spread out amongst the city.
I would be happy to help you guys promote what you're doing. All of your episodes so far have been just
I was thinking we
Interesting.
can even sometime maybe like pay to set up set up our own booth, a sunken press.
Oh, we
booth.
could.
That
We
would
need
be
we need some
awesome.
merch first.
Yeah, that's what I
we're
was-
working
when
on
we're-
merch.
When we're at
We're-
that time, that would be a good.
I
way
mean,
to-
we're not ready to announce merch yet, but we are working on the concepts of merch.
there's conceptual.
We have a great logo in like a 4-color palette that Missy made. Producer Missy, she's incredible. Producer Missy and producer Ryan are like, they're off camera. I'm
Yeah,
looking at
Missy
them right
designed
now.
so many posters for me back in the day. I'm so happy to be working with her again.
Yeah, like the team behind Sunken Press is way cool. And I know what it's like to have a great team that makes you look great too. Where you're like, hey, look at Mr. Host, guys. Like, you have no idea how much editing is done for this. You have no
So much.
idea how many
What comes
things
out of Corey's
Ryan goes,
mouth?
don't do that. It's great. Like, it's great. I have handlers. It's fantastic. So also, if you ever need like a dream crusher on staff, like somebody that you don't want to be like, I don't want to tell them that their thing isn't going to work. You can send me. I'll be like, hey, what's up? It's me. I'm the Dream Crusher. I'm on Main Street's Dream Crusher, dog. I'm here to stomp on your dreams. Your idea doesn't suck. I'm not allowed to say it sucks, but it's not viable. Stomping time. Yeah, I'll do it.
Sometimes you might not think something's viable, but somebody is so passionate about it that they figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, the most important takeaway from this is for Alton Main Street. What is the future of Alton Main Street? What kind of stuff do you want people involved in? And what is your final word on the matter?
Man, we're kind of on the cusp of another leap. We actually went through a huge strategic planning process with Main Street America over the last summer, and you guys probably took the survey. We had like 1,600 community members take our survey on what they want downtown to be. So that's giving us a lot of intel and insight. We're mapping out our next 3-year plan, which we're,
Can you tell us something that stood out to you about what people wanted?
Well, I mean, something I'm super excited about is we're rebranding. We've had the same logo since 1995. So we have been working with a couple of great graphic designers on our team they did it well too. They went around town taking photographs to pull the color palette out of things that are actually in the district. And we have 2 logos, one that's more businessy and one that's more fun and funky.
I think I saw
kind
one.
Of teasing things out here and there. But yeah, all of our posters are now, we each event kind of has its own personality, but we really wanted something that tied everything together to where if you see any of those posters, you would immediately say, oh, that's a Main Street event. Exactly. So you'll see everything now has a border and it's got a wave pattern to signify the river, and all of our colors have names like Blue Pool and Mississippi Brown and stuff like that. I mean, it's really we are really kind of taking it to the next level of grassrootsness and trying to become even more professional and getting our logo out there. And I get kind of finger wagged sometimes from my board, especially a number of years ago, because it's my personal thought on the matter is it doesn't matter who gets credit as long as it gets done. But my board is like, we got to go out and solicit sponsorships and hustle. You better have our logo on everything. You better be saying our name on everything. Everyone needs to know who did this, because a lot of people look around at the flowers and they're like, oh, isn't that great? The city does this. And it's like, actually, it's hundreds of volunteer hours that do this, So it is important to pat yourself on the back sometimes and shine the spotlight on the coordination that it takes to pull all these things off, because it's not easy. It's our job to make it look easy, but it is a lot of work.
And you could be a part of that work if you volunteer with Alton Main Street.
And have a good time doing it.
Yeah, you could show your friends. You could show hot dates. Be like, you see them flowers? I helped with that. And they'll be like, damn, I'm impressed. It's a great way to impress people, to be like, yo, I'm such a member of my community that I volunteer with the local Main Street. Like, that's
I really
sick.
hope
That's
that
a
is
pickup
badge of
line.
honor.
I mean, it's a pickup line. It's a badge of honor. It's like a good way to make friends, being like, I volunteer with Main Street. Oh, shit, me too.
Nice. Well, seriously, let us treat you to a beverage. We always know that, food and bev is what gets a lot of people to the party in the first place. So we've been doing, volunteer mixers at Old Bakery. Come on in, first round's on us, and we can tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do, and you can meet people.
What if I already know you guys? Can I still have
Pretend
more
like you
drink on
don't.
me?
Wear a mustache.
Well, honestly, new people come in the door. So you could be a person walking in and greeting the other new people and making them feel welcome. You know what I mean?
That is true.
We do the same thing with gardening. We're trying to always appeal to different types of people. We have one standing gardening date that's 10 o'clock in the morning for the retiree ladies. And we have one that's called Weeds and Wine, where we all get together and pull weeds. And then we treat you to a glass of wine afterwards, So we are always trying to figure out a way to incentivize people to get involved and, be a part of it and everything too. So if anybody has any ideas, seriously, bring them my way. We are totally open.
What if we took the S off of that and made it weed and wine and just did that?
Oh, well, so the morning one is trash and treats. We bring people a baked good. And then the nighttime one is weeds and wine. And of course, right off the bat, everybody was like, oh, weeds and wine. Let me just get it sponsored by the dispensary or something.
You should.
If I was still the marketing director, you would be.
My only idea that I have not yet brought to life, everybody who every time it rolls around that we have something good and they're in the comment section saying, fix the roads, fix the roads. What we decided is that we would like to do a combo with the dispensary and do potheads for potholes. Seriously, would not be the absolute best fundraiser ever.
It
could
really
be
would.
Weed, cannabis related, and all funds go to fixing potholes. That way, nobody could say, fix the road. We could say, that's exactly what we're doing right now.
I would like.
Most of the
hold on.
comments,
No. I would like to point something out real quick. Whenever we interviewed Mayor Goins, he referred to the pothole fixing machine as the hot box. I just want that to be known that the pothole fixing machine in the city was called the hot box. And if that just screams your idea needs to happen, potheads for potholes, yes.
perfect.
Well, and then the whole, at so many comment sections, I see people, when they're talking about open up another dispensary or anything like weed, they're like, oh, they should fix the potholes with this extra money. And now we're actually doing it.
Yeah, no, I like this idea. I think that we should all champion this.
I love that.
Potheads for potholes, that belongs on a shirt. And then, send all the profit to fixing potholes with the hot box machine, which I know we were interviewing the mayor, but I wanted to be like, the hot box machine. That's what they call me, boys. I will close all the doors and windows.
Okay, Sarah.
All right.
Any last words?
Any last words?
We covered so many miles. I don't think we left any stone unturned or
stoner unturned. I love it. I love
you
it.
guys. Thank you for having me
we
on.
love
I
you
really
too.
appreciate it. What a good time.
Oh, thanks for donating some of your valuable time.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Love it.